Now, there's a bit of an odd phenomenon going on in our politics today. How our frontrunners during presidential primaries seem to end up being people that we really don't like and really don't want to support. Now, this is according to an NBC News Wall Street Journal national poll. 68% of registered voters say that they cannot see themselves supporting Donald Trump, whereas 61% of voters surveyed said that they could not see themselves backing Ted Cruz if he became the nominee. Now stop for a minute here. 68% of registered voters couldn't see themselves supporting Donald Trump. Now that is worse than a disaster. That is a fucking dumpster fire. 61% for Cruz, that's not much better. But Trump, remember, Trump is the Republican frontrunner. And you have 68% of the country of registered voters saying, no, not going to go for Trump at all. Now, if you think Clinton fares better, well, she does, but only slightly. In fact, 58% say that they cannot see themselves supporting Hillary Clinton if she becomes the Democratic nominee. Now, what about the other two? Bernie Sanders and John Kasich. Well, they actually fare a little bit better. There's a minority of voters saying that they couldn't see themselves supporting Sanders at 48% or John Kasich at 47%. Wow, that's really interesting. John Kasich ends up looking the best out of all of them, according to this poll, when it comes to number of people who wouldn't support him. Now, what's more is that 65% of all voters hold a negative view of Donald Trump. That makes him the most unpopular major presidential candidate in history. In the history of the NBC Wall Street Journal poll. Donald Trump is breaking records. Just not the record any candidate actually wants to break. And what's even better is that Donald Trump has done the impossible. He has united many liberals and conservatives in their common hatred of Donald Trump. Amazing. All right, so now to the others, right? A majority of voters have an unfavorable view of Clinton at 56%. Now that's a figure that has actually risen 5 points in the last month. Oh, what's happened in the last month? All right, her attacks on Bernie Sanders have gotten a bit sharper. I wonder if attacking Bernie Sanders, one of the most respected and liked members of Congress, had anything to do with her uptick in how many people don't like her. I wonder. Now, what about Cruz? 49% view Cruz the same way. Less people have an unfavorable opinion of Ted Cruz than Hillary Clinton. That's amazing. Now, in terms of favorability, once again, Sanders and Kasich, they're the only ones to score net positive favorability ratings. John Kasich has a 12% net favorability rating, while Bernie Sanders has a positive 9% favorability rating. That is amazing. What the hell? All right. Now, finally, Bernie Sanders is the only candidate, according to this NBC Wall Street Journal poll, who more voters could see themselves supporting than could not. More people out of this poll, and these are registered voters, could see themselves supporting Sanders than not. He's got a net favorability rating, and more people would support him than wouldn't. Doesn't that say anything about being electable? More electable than Hillary Clinton? More electable than Trump? Doesn't that say something? No, it couldn't possibly. But I'll get to that in a minute. Now, according to NBC senior political editor Mark Murray, to top it off, just 19% of all respondents give Clinton high marks for being honest and trustworthy, while only 12% give Trump high scores for having the right temperament. And yet, back to Sanders. The media calls him fringe. They say he's unelectable. They say he's not a serious candidate, despite all the evidence to the contrary. He is far more electable than Hillary Clinton, And while he probably can't get some of his policy positions done, we all know that, we also know that he'll fight like hell to get the full loaf instead of starting with a half and getting the crumbs. Nonetheless, another part of this poll, the last part, a majority of likely voters in both parties say that they'd be satisfied with both Clinton or Trump as their nominees. Among Democrats, 73% they'd be either very satisfied or somewhat satisfied with Clinton as a nominee, while 63% of Republicans say the same about Trump. Still, more GOP voters say they'd be satisfied with Cruz than with Trump. I don't understand this. I don't get why. We as Americans are so dead set on nominating people and being okay with them being the nominee if we don't trust them and don't like them. I don't get it. I don't like you. I don't trust you. You should be our nominee. I'd be comfortable with that. Wow. It's sort of like tasing yourself on purpose. You know what's going to happen. You know you're not going to like it, but you do it anyway because you're comfortable with it. Yeah, okay. There's no logic in this. There's no logic at all. Why do we hate ourselves and want to continue with a system that continuously gives us the middle finger, yet counts on our support every 4 years? I guess I just don't understand people. I guess I never will.